Hey, what's up? This is Sane, and I'm doing another tutorial, and this time we're going to do timers. Custom timers for skill games. So I went to go set up something really fast, and it's pretty good. So I set up a first-person controllable Mario Kart's first-person game. I don't know what to say. So I made everything friction, no friction and everything like that, and it's all good. So what I did is I put a lap time, okay? So this is your lap, and this is going to be 3 checkpoints so you don't cheat. Now, if you go backwards, then you have to set up different logic so you don't cheat, but this is just an example for the timers. I'm going to have a total timer that calculates the total time for the track, and then I'm going to have another timer that resets every time you hit a lap. You understand? And it's going to add each checkpoint. So it's going to be a total of 3 checkpoints. So 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. Okay? And this is the logic that I set up. So you have to have all 4 of these triggers. Make sure that your triggered by is by the custom object that you're racing, which is the cart or the ball or whatever. And make sure each trigger does this. Increases the value by 1 here, and then there's a generic filter that is going to equals to 3. On true, it's going to turn the lap time on. Normally it's going to be off, okay, so just in case you go backwards you cheat. Okay, the laps are here, the checkpoints, so you don't like cheat, but you can obviously go backwards because this is a circle. So it doesn't really matter which way you go, it's going to be the exact same time. It's better just to go forward or you'll lose the time. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be based on time. Okay, so what is the generic filter going to do? Make sure you have an interval always powering the generic filter so the mathematical filter can work. It's going to equal 3 checkpoints to unlock the lap, which then this is going to reset the timer. So how to set up a timer is you have to use a linear data source. You can play around with this number. I chose 220,000. And I chose 60 minutes, okay? So it's going to play till 60 minutes and stops. But this one's going to reset when disabled. This is the lap timer. And this is going to be the total timer. So the total timer is 60 minutes. You could adjust it higher with mathematical values. But I think 60 could be the limit, but I'm not sure. But I don't think no one's going to be playing your racing game for 60 minutes. Alright, so if you want to do it higher, by all means use mathematical values. So this is what I use. So this is my primary score, secondary score, and counter score. How you set that up is go into the track settings, select hub, make sure it's primary, data source. This is your max time, and this is make sure it's ascending, and make sure it's time, and this is whatever, and then you can select your thing. Same thing for the secondary and then thirdary and then so forth. Thirdary is obviously the lap timer. Okay. Make sure you only set this but don't set this. This is your total score and this is the value that's going to be changing. If you reset this to 0, it's going to put the laps to 0. So if you want the laps to go 0 and reset again, select this one. But if you don't and want to keep adding in, keep that on and keep this on. We're going to test it out in a second. Make sure that each trigger box, you see all the red arrows? They're the trigger boxes. So each trigger box is going to turn off the trigger so you cannot turn around and hit the lap again, so to prevent you from cheating. And then it's going to increase the score by 1, saying you got 1 checkpoint. And then when you get all 3, you've done a lap. And then when you've done a lap, you know the lap time because it's going to reset the timer, okay? And what you could do too, if you want to have 3 separate lap timers to stop the clock, you could do that as well. So it doesn't reset, if that makes sense. So if you want to set up a lap timer stop, you would just stop the time and don't reset. So I'm going to say don't reset. You ready? So we're going to keep going. The time goes checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3. And we didn't stop the timer, obviously. That's the problem. Something's turning on the timer again. Okay, should work now. So you go on checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3, the timer should stop. We did it in 6 seconds exactly. Now it will not change ever again. Okay? Or did it change just now? No, it didn't. It's at 5 seconds, 400 milliseconds. You see how it just keeps going? Now, if you want to have 3 laps, you are going to have 3 separate HUD menus. You're going to put the counter 1, counter 2, counter 3, and then you're going to have the 3 lap times, right? And they're going to start based on the 2nd lap and the 3rd lap, if that makes sense. And how would you do this is based on the score here. Okay, so you would have, let's say it's 369, right? You know what I'm saying? 369. So you would set this to 3, and then 1 for 6, and then 1 for 9. So when that score value, when you just hit Y for this one, so based on this, if the score value is 9, you know, you would want 9 for that, and then another one for 6. Okay, and then you would have 2 more values like this. Okay, which they're probably going to be off. Okay, and so what's going to happen here is we're going to have 2 more interval triggers here. A little bit more logic to keep in mind, so I could show you an example here so you could just make your own Ninja Warrior course or something on Trials if you want some sort of wipeout thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to go through all these menus so you see how time consuming it is, and this one's supposed to be 6. You can turn off these too, but I'm going to leave them on because there's not a lot of logic. Okay, so, and then you could set up the HUD menus for this. So counter 2, a data source, another value here. It's going to be the lap time. 2nd lap, ascending time. That's going to be this one, and then counter 3, data source. Placement, and then a time, and then again counter 3. Alright, let's give it a shot. Okay, so lap 1 is going to finish with 6 seconds, and lap 2 should start. That's my mistake. So in 3 it should start, and in 6 it should start the other one. You understand? Okay. And then we're gonna have another one, another few of them here. And if you want to speed up the process here for this, you would have a impulse splitter, so you can select multiple of them at once, so it doesn't multiple. Okay, and then it's going to show the same value. I know it's a little bit much here. So we all know that when it reaches 6, a new lap will emerge. So 3, so in 6, the timer for 3 will stop. Okay, and then in 9, the timer on 369, the timer will also stop there. So we have to stop the timer so we can have a direct lap time. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of extra logic. I'm probably just gonna edit how to set up HUD timers and lap timers on stops and all this other shit. I don't know how I'm gonna word it yet, but it's a lot. And then we're gonna have more stop timers here. So we're gonna have all these stop timers here. So we gotta memorize. Okay, so this is the 3. Okay, so we know that this is generic. So in 6, we will turn off this timer, and then we know that this one will be 6, right? Based on the 6, and then this one 9. Okay, and so it all makes sense. And then let's do it. And so the timer is going to stop for 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3 again. It should stop. And then 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, so we have a problem. The problem is it stops on the 3rd checkpoint. And we cannot stop it on the 3rd checkpoint. So what we need to do is we need to turn off these. Okay, and we need to turn off which one is this one? Okay. So we need to turn on that. No, we don't need to turn on that. Okay, when we go through 6, it's gonna turn off these. So it's gonna be on, but it's not gonna work until we pass that trigger. So off. No, I'm doing it wrong already. What am I doing? What am I doing? Yeah, so I'm gonna keep it like this. Well, you get what I mean, though. So it's only gonna activate from this. So you 1, 2, 3, right? And then we should turn on these, right? But you get what I mean, though. 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to stop the timer at the finish line, but you know what I mean? You can make different lap times. And how would you do that? Well, obviously, this one is also going to send an input. You understand? So that's the way to counteract it. So we're going to say increase to 1, disable input here. Increase to 1 there, increase to 1 there. Increase to 1, increase to 1. Increase that to 1, and increase that to 1. And now we're good. And now what we got to do here is we got to say 4. And this one's got to be... oh, this one's got to be 3. What am I doing? The next one's got to be 4. Uh, 7. Which I did totally incorrect mathematically wise. Or maybe not. Yeah, I did. Okay, so we're gonna say 4. 8. 8. That's gonna be 12. You see, now it works. Stops at the finish, you see that? There we go. So those are lap times. You see how it's different each time? You see what I mean? And then if you want to have a finish by the 3rd lap. Okay, so we're going to say 12, and then on 12, it's going to finish the game. It's going to finish the game. And then it's going to end the timer there. And that timer of primary and secondary. And we're also gonna stop the rider. So lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, end. Okay, so what we could do here is we could do like a delay filter so we could see the time before it ends. So we could see the scoreboard. You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna say maybe 3 seconds or something, 4 seconds. So we're gonna do lap 1, lap 2, lap checkpoint 3, and then boom. And then we can also add laps. I'm just gonna add a lap. Sorry, I'm gonna keep the video a little bit longer here. But we need some laps. We're gonna add a counter 5. And then we're gonna set up the new logic here. Go back to HUD menus. Counter 5, placement. Trials Fusion, you can have this many menus like this, and so yeah, and then this is the 6th one. I think I made a damn mistake. Gotta go back and say descending and say score. Why didn't it register? Okay, ascending. Okay, and then we have 6. We say descending and score. That's going to be our lap. So per every 4, for every 3, for every 3. Dispersant value, we're going to do a different one here. No, we don't. Based on the value here, It's going to be 4. We need a generic filter or a data source. And then the data source is gonna be that. Why am I resetting it? It's gonna be 4. It's gonna be 4, and then we're gonna have we're gonna say I'm an idiot. Can't do this. We have to do this increase to 1. And then say untrue. So every time it hits 4, it's gonna say untrue, but it's also gonna increase this value by 4. See if that works. So we have checkpoint 1, 2, 3. And it should say 1, but it doesn't. Increase to 4, right? Increase to 4. Oh, that's why, because nothing's increasing it to 4. No, but it should increase to 4. Okay, and then this should be 4 up there. So I think that one's increasing it to 8. That's why. But there's a delay, so... Okay, so that's how you do it. I don't know why the other thing is not working here. I know why, because it's increasing that to 8. See what I'm talking about here? So we gotta increase that to 8 here on the first trigger box. Okay. Increase that by 4. And don't touch this. I think we should be fine now. So nothing is happening again, which is very strange. Oh, I know why, but because it's already 8, so that's why it doesn't work. So it should work on the second time run. But it doesn't because... Oh, dude, this is kind of annoying. This cannot because it's going to put it to 8. Every time you hit this, it should make that one 1. I'm probably an idiot, but sorry. Bear with me here. It was so easy, I didn't even need to do any of that. Lap 2. Lap 3, there we go, ending. And do it one more time. Lap 1. Lap 2. Lap 3. It's ending. So that's how you do it. That's how you make a lap-based game. You see the lap there? And there's going to be 3 different lap timers. If you wanted to reset, just say reset, and it will reset, if that makes sense. I'm saying a legend. That's the end of my almost 30-minute tutorial on how to make timers. But you don't have to watch this far, obviously. Shout out to the guy who made this music. Follow him on SoundCloud. I'll have the link in the description for the background music. I played it in all my builds, and it's really good. Link to his SoundCloud link in the video's description below. That's how you make timers, HUD timers, and lap menus. And if you guys even want a timer menu that's already pre-made, go to examples. And there should be one for a clock. There it is. It's backwards. That's a custom timer, and you can follow the logic here, how they did it. Bet you Mutatus did this one. So shout out to Mutatus. But like, yeah. So that's how you make lap timers for HUD menus. And I'm Legend, and I'll see you possibly on future tutorials when I learn stuff in the editor, okay? So I'm Legend, and that's it. You can watch my Trials Fusion tutorials since the editors are the same. In a way, they are the same. And you can watch other ones like ladder climbing and all this other shit that I've done in Trials Fusion. You can visit my custom designs or this channel for tutorials. I categorize them, Trials Rising and Trials Fusion. So I'm Legend, and laters.